What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Monster nations, rural towns, and so on. He'd looked down on them all before he came here, but now he felt pathetic for doing so. Sensing all this culture he had never seen before made his heart throb. Being spurned by this demon lord was a serious issue, one that had to be remedied no matter what. But so confident was Muse in his scheme that he misjudged how Rimuru would react to it. Those merchants may have nowhere left to go, but I'm just the same. There would be no more advancement in his career. The five elders weren't forgiving enough to allow failures in their midst. He would lose his fortune, perhaps he'd even be purged. But all Muse could do was report the truth. Because no matter where he went in this wide world, there was no fleeing the eyes of the Razzo family.
I see he really did fail, grandfather.
That he did, Maribel. I should have let you handle that. When I first heard the news, I thought that nation was too valuable to destroy, and now look.
You couldn't help it. I saw and heard it, too, and I felt it. The aroma of a culture from my past. But that's why we need to erase it all before it becomes known.
It was Maribel's indirect way of telling Granville Razzo his orders were too half-hearted. And as head of the Razzo family and chief mediator among the five elders, Granville bitterly agreed with her. The Tempest Founders Festival was attended by the world's ruling classes. It was Granville who ignored Maribel's warnings and decided to see it. If they could bring the demon lord Rimuru under their wing, they could have invited him onto the council, in a way that benefited them, of course. That was their decision, but with far fewer movable pawns available at the moment, Granville grew timid. That was why Maribel stopped him from taking action, instead having a third party feel this demon lord out. And as a result, Duke Muse failed. If only Maribel was there, the Razzos would never have lost. Granville was sure of it, but Maribel looked like a young child, and instinctively, he hesitated to let her go off alone.
Grandfather, I need to make a move of my own.
That's the only way?
Don't worry, alright? I am Maribel. I am greed. I wish for everything, and I take it all for myself. This world belongs to the Razzo family.
That it does. You're right. It's all in your hands.
Granville gently caressed Maribel's head. Thus Maribel the greedy took action. And then, 1 month later, a letter arrived in Tempest from the Council of the West.
Volume 10 Prologue. Those who set things in motion.
The boy let out a resigned, exasperated sigh.
You sure look depressed about something. Was there a problem?
He was being asked by a man wearing an asymmetrical mask, Laplace, a magic-born and member of the moderate jesters. A man that Yuki Kagurazaka, the boy facing him now, counted as someone he trusted.
You could say that. I got an invite, so I stopped by to pay a visit, but I'm telling you, my jaw practically hit the floor. I suppose you could say it was a big hit to my confidence, or that I thought we needed to reconsider our plans.
Reconsider our plans?
Kazalim, the ex-demon lord now passing herself off as Yuki's secretary, Kagali, repeated the words right back at Yuki.
Right.
A depressed-looking Yuki replied.
I'm thinking we don't want to get on that slime's bad side, if we can help it.
So why not retain a close relationship, then? I'm set to explore those ruins before long, so I assumed we would stay on friendly terms for the time being.
No, the plan's still the same as always. It's just that now, it's gotten a lot harder.
And why's that? You keep it cool, don't make any waves, and nobody's gonna get hurt, right?
Laplace was no fool, either. Given how his friend Clayman was no longer alive, he did have a bone to pick with Rimuru, but he wasn't willing to defy their boss Yuki's orders just to start a fight. And Laplace wasn't alone. Footman and Tyr had the same opinion, and as leader of the jesters, Kagali understood well enough the dangers of letting emotion drive your behavior. In this world, the one supreme rule was survival of the fittest. Through their shared experiences, Laplace and his team had learned that nothing good comes from taking reckless action before victory was assured. Not only did Clayman completely fail to obtain his revenge against the demon lord Leon, he even died in the attempt. Thanks to that, even with the former Kazalim returned among them, the moderate jesters were right back where they started from. If they decided to open hostilities against the demon lord Rimuru at this point, revenge against Leon would be the least of their worries. They all understood that, and so the jesters bade their time, just as Yuki ordered. But then Yuki informed them of a problem.
Well, on that note, I think that's gotten a little difficult for us, too.
Said Yuki.
Meaning?
It's looking like that slime is starting to suspect something with us.
Wah, hang on, did you do something to make him catch you out?
Laplace asked.
Oh, don't be silly, Laplace. Unlike you, the boss would never make a mistake like that.
You're right. I don't know anybody nearly as wary as our boss here. I sincerely doubt he did anything ill-advised.
The eternally careful Yuki seemed to be suggesting he was the one at fault, but Laplace's response was quickly shot down by Tyr and Footman. That was the sort of respect Yuki had earned from the jesters.
Calm down, guys.
Rebuked Kigali, their leader.
It's no mistake Sir Yuki here made. The slime was quite cautious indeed, as it turned out. Facing up to him myself, I could tell there's nobody else like him. He made me feel like my whole body was being watched, like I couldn't let my guard down for a moment. I couldn't fully suss out the force he has to work with, but he's a formidable one, no doubt.
Having gone toe-to-toe against Rimuru once before, Kigali was able to instinctually feel the danger the slime presented. He wasn't even Leon's equal in terms of strength, but that ability to see and react to everything in the world was a threat, she felt. Yuki nodded at her.
No, I think that slime, the Demon Lord Rimuru, I think he's a menace. One of the leaders of the council was there, one of our main sources of funding, and he met his intellectual match pretty quickly with him. He's crafty, he's careful, and he's merciless against his foes. Normally, he's kind and gentle, but get him riled up, and there's no controlling him, you could say. And since I tried and failed to use that man, it's little surprise I'm under suspicion.
He shrugged.
Well, yeah, boss, but whatever he thinks about ya, he ain't got no evidence, does he? So just go with it and play it normal, and he can't do nothing about that, right?
There's no physical evidence, no. But you know, I'm the one who leaked the fate of Shizu to Hinata, and that's some pretty damning circumstantial evidence, I bet. Plus, at the very end, he rounded up all his people to discuss their future direction, but I guess Rimuru chose that meeting to round up all his suspects too. It's pretty fair to assume that our cover's been blown.
Oh my.
The group looked on, distressed, as they listened to Yuki's rundown. Kigali, unsurprisingly, was the first to recover. Given her demon lord roots and experience with life or death situations, she'd always be the quickest on her feet.
Fair enough, but it was bound to happen sooner or later, wasn't it? That slime truly is a threat. So how should we revise our plan, boss?
Well, we'll stay on the quiet side, like before. As long as Rimuru has nothing damning against us, I doubt he'll decide to get openly hostile. He might look like he's playing it all by ear, but he's actually a pretty meticulous leader. I'm sure he's worked out everything he stands to gain and lose.
Alright, him telling us about the ancient ruins was probably his way of feeling out how we'd react, then. His way of saying try anything funny, and I won't go easy.
I think you're right. People have a way of changing their minds on you. They even have a saying for it. Yesterday's foe is today's friend. So if we can make him think that now's not the time to fight, no matter what's changed, I'd call that a victory for us.
Yuki looked around at his companions, gauging their reactions.
So we're gonna stay buddy-buddy with him?
We could easily make him do our bidding, but if that's your take, boss, very well.
How stupid are you, Footman? We're having all this trouble because we can't do that.
Nah, I get where Footman's coming from, you know. It'd annoy anyone if some new guy treats you like dirt. Thing is, maybe we could win in an all-out war, but they even got Veldora on their side. I don't see much point in betting against the odds right this minute, you get me?
Exactly, so it's best for us to quit overthinking this and just follow our orders from the boss and our director.
Isn't that what they asked us for from the beginning? And I've got no problem with their takes, either.
The three jesters seemed less than enthused but were still in agreement with their boss's general direction. Once he was assured of that, Yuki nodded at Kigali. True power in the Western nations was largely claimed by two factions, the Holy Empire of Lubelius, and the Western Holy Church they backed. And the Council of the West, the parent organization of the Free Guild, not to mention the Razzo family that ruled the council's core. Now Tempest, governed by the demon lord Rimuru, was part of that mix. And now that he was fresh from the Tempest Founders Festival, Yuki had come to realize just how foolish it was to rile Rimuru. I was a little worried, though. If I declared that I wasn't going to fight Rimuru, would these guys be willing to meekly accept that? The thought occurred to Yuki, but it appeared to be baseless. Kigali might have acted differently, but losing to Leon once had taught Kigali a little prudence. The jesters had been working to realize their ambitions for years. To them, patience was already a virtue. To Yuki, it didn't seem like any of his faithful companions were hasty enough to thoughtlessly go out of control.
I'm glad to see that,
he said with a smile.
Now, I think I'll let you take over the work I had assigned to Damarata.
Huh? Meanin' the classified goods?
What, leaving that work to us?
Are you sure, boss?
This instantly unnerved the three jesters. Yuki kept smiling at them.
You can handle that, right?
Oh, you're on, boss. Just worried that we'll go out of control and start a bunch of crap, aren't ya? Well, no way we're gonna. Even if we think we can win in a fight, we ain't gonna so much as lift a finger, I swear to ya.
Right. Even Clayman lost his cool at the last minute, after all. If we made the same mistake, I wouldn't be able to rib him for it in the afterlife.
True enough. Acting from a place of anger only leads to mistakes. As the angry jester of this bunch, that's something I'd be particularly prudent to remember. The Demon Lord Leon swore revenge against him someday, but I think that someday will need to wait.
The trio each reassured Yuki with their own choice of words. He gave them a light nod.
You've matured more than I thought,
Yuki muttered, before recalling something else.
By the way, the mention of classified goods reminded me. Rimuru brought the children I took in over to Tempest, didn't he?
Ah yes, the ones Shizuozawa prevented us from reaching.
Right, those. He had a built-in excuse, wanting them to see the festival and all, but thinking about it, he really does suspect me, doesn't he? Which is fine. I just can't get what he said off my mind.
He paused for a moment. The children were growing stronger and stronger. That was no doubt because of what the Demon Lord Rimuru did to save them. And while he said it was a secret, he let on to Yuki that he wanted the kids to learn more about the spirits within them.
He kind of glossed over it the last time I asked, but
Perhaps they've gotten so strong that there's no glossing over the subject any longer.
well, who knows? I got all excited, thinking he had some kind of scheme in mind for them.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to Night Gazer, Chad Vota, Kashuru Tyranny, Rahul Subramanian, Sama Nisan, Ice B, Jonathan Akar, Hiyama, Mark Lloyd, and last but not least, shout out to Peter John Espura. I'll see you guys in the next video.